Hello, 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 friends. And I am excited to record this video and share it with you. And it's been on my heart for a while to talk about it, but with the new year coming in and making sure that you had the trackers in your hands, in the groups, and emailed to you and everything, I am just now getting a chance to sit down and talk about that tracker. And I am not one that gets crazy about New Year's resolutions. I just don't think they stick. I don't think, I mean, it's great to be excited about something. It's great to get that momentum, that excitement, but I would rather set monthly goals or, I don't know. I struggle with New Year's resolutions. And maybe that's because I never could stick with any of them because every year I was that chronic, like, I'm going to work out. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to not eat sugar. I'm going to all the things. And it just never stuck. Right. So, what I am so excited about with these January groups is the tracker PDFs. And so, whether you're in the general, our new Find Your Joy group or Find the Joy group, or if you are currently doing 9 Week Control Freak, whatever it is, I sent you a tracker for 2021, a PDF of rating your day and tracking your habits. And I am super excited to talk to you about why I truly believe that tracking your habits is huge and why I think that that is going to make such a bigger difference versus setting a New Year's resolution that you hope that you stick with. So one thing I want is I hope that you took a look at this and I hope that you print it off and I hope that you use it. In the daily part of it, we are going to have a check-in. We're going to have that accountability piece in the group. I really want to focus on just that weekly goal setting, like that weekly making some habits, having some things that you want to attain and moving forward. And so I want to take you back to June or July of 2020. And I was seeing a lot of people that I know doing this program called 75 Hard. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's basically like you do 75 days of basically good habits. Like you follow a nutrition plan, no cheats or treats, no alcohol, 2 45-minute workouts, drink a gallon of water, read 10 pages of personal development. I'm sure there's a couple other things that I can't remember. So I was watching these people do that and I'm like, oh, that's so awesome. Like I should do something like that. So I can't remember if it was June or July, but I made my own. I called it like Kylie's 75 or Kylie's 30 Hard or something. I named it. I have the Google Doc somewhere. But basically what I did was I took those principles, but I kind of made it fit for me. So one thing I tried to do is I tried to walk every day. It wasn't 45 minutes, but I would try to go for 30 minutes. So I was trying to walk for 30 minutes a day. I was tracking my nutrition every day. And so I just came down to what are the things that I want to do that I know will make me feel better, that will help me achieve the weight I want, all of those things. Like what's going to move me forward to the person I want to be, right? So I wrote down this list and I used a table and I was tracking it. So every day when I would wake up with no snooze, I'd put an X. Every day, and I did this when I was trying to get better and more consistent with reading my devotions and reading in my Bible and those kind of things. And so every day that I would do that, I would cross it off and I'd look at this list. And I started off with 5 things. I had a list of 5 things, and it was no snooze, read 2 chapters in the Bible, take a 30-minute walk, drink a gallon of water. I was doing that. And then there's one other one. I can't think of it right now. No sugar. So those are my 5 things. And I started that, and tracking it, for one thing, it made me more aware of it when, like, say the sugar, for example, if I knew, okay, well, I'm keeping track of that. So if I have that piece of candy today, I'm not going to be able to mark it off on my tracker, right? So I was much more aware and conscious of it to begin with. And then second off, just seeing the X's on my chart. And I tracked it for 21 days. just seeing the X's and the line keep snaking, it did something in my brain that made that connection, and it was becoming a habit. And it wasn't anything extreme. It wasn't anything that I was like, "I'm gonna lose 30 pounds," and then, like, every time it wasn't huge like that. It was just little itty bitty tweaks that I was tracking using the same habit tracker that I sent you. And so I have the 9-week control freak one sitting right here. So, and I love the chart. I don't know what it is about me, but I love like the chart aspect of it. So 9-week control freak workout, did it Monday, exit off. Did it Tuesday, exit off. Did it Wednesday, exit off. Did you do your controlled stretch? XXX, mark it off. Did you follow your nutrition plan? And sometimes if I'm like, oh, I did really good, but I had one little treat or one little sneak of something, I'll just draw one line. I won't totally X, but I'll just give it like a slash, right? Because I did really well, but I didn't totally bomb, but I didn't nail it either. Did I hit my water goal? Did I read my 10 pages? So what I want you to do is really, like the rest of it, we'll worry about that later. But I really want you to look at the control tracker, the habit tracker, and pick one or two things for the first 3 weeks, 21 days, 3 weeks, two things that you're going to really focus on. And I want you to pick the two things maybe that you struggle with the most, but will move you the closest to what your overall goal is. So I know so many of us, like it's January, we want to tone up, we want to lose 20 pounds, like we want to da 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 da, all the things that you want to do. What's that overarching goal, right? The reason you're doing the group that you're doing, the program you're doing, why you're here, why you're watching this, why you're showing up. What's that overarching goal? And what are two habits that you know will move you closer to that? So maybe it is water. Maybe you struggle to get your water in. So that's one thing you focus on. And every day you look at that tracker, and as soon as you hit it, your goal, your 100 ounces or whatever it is, you can cross it off. What's number two? Maybe it's that you really struggle with tracking, like tracking what it is you're actually eating. That could be one thing that you're focusing on in those 2 weeks, okay? Or 3 weeks, sorry. So pick one or two. Then at the end of the 3 weeks, add something else on. And for me, I have so much just going on around me and that I'm constantly thinking about that I make a chart. I have this chart of things that I want to do, that I want to get done, that I want to listen to, that I want to read, that I am just every week I'm like adding one thing that I want to try and track. And for me, tracking it just makes it a habit because I'm constantly thinking, when can I do this? When can I listen to that? When can I make sure I get my water in? When should I write down what I ate? And so on. And so also I have like my list of podcasts that I loved. I just did this today. I have my list of podcasts that I love to listen to. So I made my own little chart of when they drop new episodes. So that way I know when I can go in and listen. So for example, I love That Sounds Fun, Annie F. Downs. Her podcasts come out on Monday and Thursday. So yesterday I listened, and Thursday when I'm like ready to listen to my daily podcast, I'll be like, ooh, I can look here and be like, That Sounds Fun comes out on Thursday. That's what I'm listening to, right? So I made my list there. A few other things, I have some health related things, I have some spiritual related things, and then I have some business and work related things that I have on here as well. So for one, like no snooze. One of my goals is, and last year I got really bad at like pushing snooze or not getting up at the same time every day. So that's one of my things that's always at the top of my list is no snooze. Another one of mine is to read 3 chapters of the Gospels. So that is one thing that I track and I see it. And if I'm sitting down and I'm like, gosh, I've got like 20 minutes, I'm not sure what I should do, I can think about my tracker and I can go and I can get those things done and I can focus on that. Another thing is I have my 45-minute podcast. I have a 2B video. So I try to listen to 10 minutes of a 2B Mindset video every day. I have Mel Robbins. That's one of my things. I want to try and listen to Mel Robbins for just 20 minutes every day. I'm not sitting down or maybe it's reading her or whatever, but 20 minutes of listening to Mel Robbins in my ears, I just feel like that's going to move me closer to who I want to be and where I want to go. I have walk down, but I haven't done that because it's January and there's snow but that's one thing that I was tracking before we got snow, was every time I try to get out and walk for just 5 minutes. I take a progress picture every day. Every morning when I wake up, I take a picture to show my progress. I have no sugar, reading 10 pages of my personal development book, filling out my tracker. I have journaling down because that's one thing I want to get better at this year is journaling every day. It's something I do like when I feel like it, which is not hardly ever. So that's one thing I haven't done it at all this week. And then I have my weight at the bottom too, right? So those are just a few. There's a couple I didn't share because they're super personal. But that's something that I have this in front of me all the time where I'm tracking the habits and the things I want to do. And the other reason I think this is important is because I told you a lot. Like 4 of my things include something with listening to podcasts and other books and trainings and so on. So like 4 of the things involve me listening. And if I have to just think about that, like, oh yeah, I need to listen to this. It's all right here. I don't have to think about it. It's just right there. A few other things, like I have 2 or 3, 4 things that I try to read every day. Same thing. Like if I was like, oh my gosh, or like if I have a spare moment at night and my kids are watching TV and I'm like, I could sit and scroll, right? Or I could say, okay, I have not listened to Mel Robbins yet or read my 5-second rule for a little bit. I'm going to grab that while they're watching TV and I'm going to read while they're doing that, right? Instead of scrolling or doing something that non-productive. So that's why I want you to use this because again, I started in June or July and it was very small. I just took 3 or 4 habits that I was doing every once in a while, but I wanted to make them more habitual, more like routine. And then one other thing, and I'm just going to touch on, and then I think I might do another video and talk about this more, is habit stacking. And this is huge. And this is part of that for me is the habit stacking so that I have it down so I see it and I'm constantly looking at this sheet. Because when I cross one off, then I look and see what I have left. And then that's like fresh in my brain, right? But habit stacking, for example, again, I can't remember when I started doing this, but I knew that I wanted to read the Bible. I had it sitting on my shelf and I just wanted to start reading it, but I never found a good time. I never made time. I couldn't get in a routine with it. So what I started doing was habit stacking. And what that means is as soon as my kids were in bed, like literally tucked them in, lights out, walked down the stairs, I grabbed my Bible and sat on the couch. I did not open my phone. I did not turn on the TV. I did not start getting my stuff ready for the next day. I sat down and I read what I needed to read. And then I got up and did all those things. And that was huge. That was huge because that was one trigger. And that was one thing that I could control was as soon as they were in bed, grab the Bible, sit on the couch, read. There was a million other things I had to do once they went to bed. But and I tried this a few times, I tried to like put them to bed, get a few things done, then sit down. It didn't click because I was doing different things in that time frame, right? So I put them to bed, grabbed the Bible, sat on the couch. If I was really good before we went upstairs to tuck them in, I would set the Bible already on the couch. So I literally had no other excuses. Not touching my phone before I did that was huge too, because a couple times I'd be like, well, I got to respond to this person quick, or I need to do this really quick. And I would do that. And then 20 minutes later, I'd be like, okay, I'm ready for bed when I should have been reading, right? So that's what I mean by habit stacking. So sometimes some examples are like when you're making your coffee, what's something you could do on your list that you want to do while you're waiting for that to happen? Before you do your workout, right after you do your workout. Just things that you already are doing. Can you put a habit before it or after it? So that's what habit stacking is something you already do, like after you, like for me, so for example, as soon as I go to the bathroom, I take off my clothes and I weigh myself every single morning. It's a habit. And then as soon as I done weigh myself, I put my AirPods in and I start listening to a book right away at 5:15 in the morning. That's my habit. That's my routine. So it is gonna be uncomfortable. It's gonna be a challenge. But if you can pick 1 or 2 things to focus on in January, and then in February, or as you feel comfortable with those, then add another one. And you might think of one where you're like, okay, I really want to do this. I really want to incorporate this. So you just add it to your list and you just keep going and you just keep tracking. And like, I have not done journaling at all this week. I have not walked at all this week, but I still want to incorporate those. And so I still keep them on there because then I see them and I think about it and I think about when could I habit stack that? And that's what journaling right now for me is. I just haven't found a good place. I haven't really been looking, but I haven't found a good place to stack that in with other habits. Okay. All right. I hope that that helps. Pick a couple to focus on for January and then add a couple more in February and just keep progressing forward. But don't start off with 10. Start off with one or two that are going to get you right now close to that overarching goal that you want to focus on.